So if I had clicked record literally half an hour ago, we'd have seen you literally munching.
Yeah, up until that terms and conditions came out, I was eating, so I'm very glad. Unless you wanted an AMSR of that, we were very lucky that was that we were done for that.
Of course. Today we're talking to Martin MacAlistair. We're going to be learning about Iron Girders, ICW, CPW, how he got into wrestling. There's so much to talk about. But as always, intern, roll the intro. I got to ask, what were you munching, by the way?
It was kind of like a spaghetti bolognese kind of thing, like kind of.
In what sense do you mean, kind of?
I didn't want to bring this up already, but I don't eat meat, so I always just tell people that I'm like, oh, but also this, but also this. So it was like fake meat spaghetti bolognese.
Well, there you go. We're all warming it in. We've already learned something new about you.
Yep.
Of course, Martin, great to obviously see you, bud. Last time we obviously spoke, you were obviously on holiday in Japan. How was that?
It was unbelievable. Fantastic. You know, it's one of those things you come back from holiday, supposed to be kind of like humble about it, but no, it was the greatest thing ever. I'm choking to go back. So better get wrestling, better see if they can get signed over there.
When I was looking through obviously your Twitter and stuff, I noticed that you were a bit of a, I want to say nerd type thing because I saw the Pokemon thing.
Yeah, no, I'm really into like, especially Pokemon. Pokemon has been one of those things that's been about in my life, the whole time. I don't remember a time without it, and it's always been by my side like that, and then like anime, video games. Yeah, I'm into a lot of that stuff. So Japan was a bit of a haven for that, but Pokemon especially.
What's the go-to Pokemon? Come on, we're showing the geeky side here.
It's Snorlax. He's my boy. He always has been.
Okay, mine's Arcanine, by the way. Just
that's a good pick.
Of course, yeah. I mean, it's so great to talk to you. We're obviously on Thursday. How's the week been?
Yeah, it's been really good, really good. So as I said, I was on holiday recently, so it's been just kind of getting back into the groove of life, really, and back in it training, back in it. So I train at Iron Girders gym, so I've been back in there. So it's just been really good to get moving again and get back to normal.
We've got Wee Loud Wrestling fan. Hey Martin, it's Fiona Mason from Girders. I'm sure you know who that is.
Fiona. Yep. She's one of the mega regulars. It's great to see you.
Awesome. Yeah, so today, obviously, like I said, it's about you. We're going to learn all about you as a wrestling, in wrestling, outside wrestling, everything in between, stuff like that. How's that?
Sounds absolutely perfect.
Awesome. So let's obviously start at the beginning, shall we? So I was looking through Cage Match, and it says your career started in 21. Is that correct?
Yeah.
And now, obviously, what made you obviously get into wrestling?
So it's a funny story because I don't really remember signing up to wrestling. So in terms of getting into wrestling, something me and my brother had always watched. We absolutely loved it, and kind of fell away from it. Like I think a lot of people do in their teenage years, and then came back to it for CM Punk's 434-day title reign, whatever length it was. Just came back during that, and I've always been a massive fan of John Cena. So he was there just as I left wrestling, and then he was there when I came back. So that was really cool. And after that, I was really back into wrestling. But in my personal life, I'd taken quite a lot of hurt, and I was severely overweight. I had really terrible mental health. And for some reason, I don't know why, don't know what started it, but I signed up for the Glasgow Pro Wrestling Asylum, as it's called, GPWA. And I don't really know why. I don't like it's one of those things, but that was 2018, and out of the blue, I signed up for it. And 2 months later, I was in training, and the first couple of weeks, I was like, I don't think this is for me. I really don't know where I'm going with this. And Jack Jester, one of the coaches there, he kind of pulled me aside, and he was like, if you don't look like you want to be here, if you need to kind of impress people, and you got to look like you want to be here, and if you're not going to put the effort in, just go home, kind of like that. And that was like the exact thing I needed, the exact speech I needed at the exact time. I don't know what it was about it. It struck a chord. I absolutely disagree with that, Fiona, but I'm on a point right now. And we'll come back to that thing about Cena sucks. Yeah, so that moment, after that, for some reason, something just clicked in my head, and I put everything into becoming a wrestler, and it all kind of paid off in 2021. As you said, I've made my debut. It's actually during the COVID lockdowns. So ICW, I was very fortunate to be wrestling with GPWA, and ICW is like their sister company. They had converted the training school into a TV studio, and they needed people in. And it just so happens that I was, local, because it was all different rules at the time, wasn't it, to do with distances and blah, blah, blah. So I was local enough, and I was able to go in different groups. So I always like to joke about it because my first ever match was on the WWE Network, which is baffling. But B, like the first person that I had physical contact with outside of my household in 6 months was someone that punched me in the face.
That's awesome. I'm going to let you obviously respond to this one. Go ahead.
Yeah, I don't really know how to respond to it. I mean, yeah, Cena doesn't suck. He's great. I think that's all I can say.
Dear. Let's catch up obviously on the rest of the comments while we're here when it decides to work. Is it not? Oh.
Yep.
Is it? It seems to be locking up on my side.
Oh, I can see it. So that's Chat Tsunami saying, "Evening all, hope Steve's going well. Martin, how does it feel to be a wrestling/podcasting superstar?" So yeah, Chat Tsunami is one of my friends. We've done a few podcasts with him, and we've also been on a podcast together, which is kind of cool. So yeah, it's good to see him. He's doing a good bit of work, I should say.
There you go. And you've also done work for Iron Girders. So when, obviously from ICW, did you obviously start working for Iron Girders?
Yeah, so they're both based in Glasgow, and I was fortunate enough to kind of train between both of them. So when they started doing shows, I was put onto them. So they've been running shows for about two and a bit years now. Just over two, because it was 2 years anniversary a couple of weeks back. And yeah, it's been phenomenal. It's a great crowd of people that come to see us every time. Great group of wrestlers. We're, as part of the training school, so we're getting new people in all the time. And I'm currently the champion of Iron Girders. I'd be remiss not to bring that up, but it's fantastic. It's a great venue. We're very lucky in that we can turn the school into the show. So it's in the same venue, and we also are able to travel around, which is fantastic. It's a real buzz, and I love it. I love it to bits.
Yeah, and there's obviously some great talent there. There's obviously Angel Hayes. There's obviously yourself, Casey Owens. Obviously, we've discussed. There's some really great talent there. Do you know from what I was obviously doing research for?
Yeah, but we're so lucky for that. Like, I think Glasgow, in general, is such a hotbed for talent. It always has been. I think it always will be. We're so lucky, and I always like to. Oh, thank you, Esty. I always like to bring up, but the whole thing with The Rock training with Gallus before his match at WrestleMania, and we're so lucky in that that's the kind of talent coming out of Glasgow. That's the kind of people that have been, mentoring us and mentoring the people that now mentor us. So it's fantastic. It's there's a reason those guys were chosen. There's a reason. I think there's a lot of good talent coming out of Glasgow now.
Awesome. And We Allow Wrestling Fans obviously sent you a question in. It says, Martin, you are a heel in another company. Are we ever going to see a heel side of you at Girders? You know how much I love my heels.
Who knows? There's a long way before that happens. I think I love being at Girders too much. It's only usually when another company's mean to me that I'm mean to them back.
Yeah. Which is it? Which do you prefer at the minute? Is it face or heel?
I've mainly done work as face, so I've only ever been heel a couple of times. So it's usually face. I like being face. I like very much that John Cena thing. I like making people happy, and I like inspiring people. I think that's going to be quite difficult on the flip side of the coin.
Absolutely. And you mentioned there being the champion. I mean, that's obviously got to be a huge accomplishment for you. Do you know, being obviously the top guy in a promotion?
Yeah, it's a lot of pressure. in a way, but it's good pressure. Like I'm really proud of what I accomplished to get there. I'm really proud that I'm able to represent Iron Girders. And it's so yeah, but I can't think of a better word than pride. But I love to have the title. I love to defend it against people, and it's one of the greatest achievements I think of my life in generally. That I've got to do this, and I can't wait to wear that belt in more places and defend it against more people because it means the world to me.
Awesome. And the other promotion, which obviously caught my eye, and it's one I'm not obviously familiar with, is Community Pro Wrestling. That's another one obviously you've done work for. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so that's sort of in Glasgow. There's different parts of Glasgow, and this is on the sort of the more west side of Glasgow. They've been expanding quite a lot recently into different locations, but they're a fantastic sort of very family based company, and I think what they really benefit in is that they're Ravy Davy, their sort of like head guy. He's able to take these shows into venues that have not had wrestling before, or have not had it for a long time, maybe pre-COVID. And he's really done a great job of like expanding. So they're really good in that they're getting talent again from all over Scotland, and they've got their own skills around it. Seeing a big crop of talent coming through, always an amazing time for them. The crowd is always bonkers for a CPW show. I can't think how else to explain it. It's a mad show. It's a mad time.
Awesome. What's obviously the scene like? Obviously in Scotland, obviously the wrestling scene. I'm not obviously familiar with it. That's why I'm curious to learn.
Yeah, it's really exciting. It's so busy right now, and it's tons of promotions. So like on any given weekend, there's 2 or 3 shows running every weekend all over the country. I wrestled for a company called Combat League, which is in Thistle, which is the northernlymost town or city in the UK. It's like it couldn't be further up on the island. It's right at the top. So we've got all the way down into Glasgow, into the borders, further down as well. So there's like the entire country is just covered in wrestling. It's fantastic. It's like such a great opportunity that everyone's got places to work. There's unbelievable amount of talent coming through from all over because there's so many training schools as well. It is really busy right now. We're also quite blessed in that there's a lot of people wanting wrestling. It's not just always we're over in these venues to nobody, but there's also companies willing to be involved. So there's a lot of Comic-Cons have got involved. So for example, the Comic-Con that Iron Girders is most tied with is Acme Comic-Con. They've got the belt that Angel Hayes has for Girders, but also like the Monopoly Comic-Con. They're one of the other companies. They use ICW, and there's another one that've got someone else, and it's just an unbelievable thing at the moment. The Scottish scene with so many people and so much talent and so many fans. So it's a fantastic time.
We'll obviously come back saying, would you ever do a hardcore or death match?
I would love to. I'll give you a quick story. I was saying to my wife a while back that I was like, there's one thing I'd like to do in wrestling before I'm done. I'd like to land in thumbtacks. And she was horrified to hear this. And I was like, no. She's like, that's mental. I was like, I've just once. Like, I think once I do it once, I'll never want to do it again. But just one time, just to see what it's like. I know it'll suck, but I want to know for myself.
This is brilliant. Louise Wessel says the Acme shows are always such fun. Do you ever think we'll see you face Angel for the title?
I would love to. Angel, incredible competitor. She's defended that belt all across Scotland and I think further beyond now, and she's an incredible talent. I'd love to wrestle her, especially for the belt. Yeah, wait and see, because I'd definitely love that.
There you go. Wait and see for that. Guys, if you obviously got any more questions, keep them coming in because we've got loads obviously to talk about. I want to take a sit back, obviously, on training and stuff like that. What was the first bump like?
So the first bump was but it was kind of a moment of clarity for me. So the way I was taught to do a bump was off of someone else's back. If you see, like, they all do like they'll sit in like a tabletop and you fall, and that helps you get your back flat and your legs straight. They teach you how to land very safely. And I was when I got taught that, I got taught to do it off of Stevie Boy, who was at the time the ICW World Heavyweight Champion. And there was a very reality eye-opening moment to the world of wrestling where I was like, this guy's a world heavyweight champion. I'm sitting on his back, falling off it over and over again. He's like willing to teach me how to, land safely and do this. So it was quite probably an emotional moment as much as it was a physically painful moment. I was like, wow, this is what wrestling's like. Everyone's out there to help people. It's brilliant.
Absolutely. So I was watching obviously a couple of matches before we came on the air, obviously from the Iron Girders YouTube channel. Talk about your in-ring style, because I really enjoyed, obviously how you move around the ring and stuff.
Yeah, it's a funny one. I don't, you get a lot of people who can put themselves into really defined categories, but I've struggled to ever find a term for it. I take a lot of inspiration from John Cena. You might have noticed a sprinkling of his moves in there. But that's the fanboy in me. It's you practice these things and you get good at them, so why not use them? And it's a real mix, and I like to try. I always try to find new things that I've never done before. I like to try scare myself a little. I like to try the things that will put me, make me different, stand out. I've got light up shoes, like to throw big kicks. But it's been fun to try experiment and learn new things. I really want to push myself in different directions. And I think the style is just kind of everything right now. Maybe I'll hone it down as I get a bit older, but for now I'm experimenting and I'm having a lot of fun with it.
Favorite John Cena match?
The CM Punk Raw one where they knock out the pile driver. It's like just before WrestleMania. Is it 27, 28? 28.
Rings a bell. Yep.
Yeah, that one's brilliant. And then he's got the match with Cesaro on the US Open Challenge tour. I think that US Open Challenge thing is like the greatest string of matches ever committed. So I'd feel like missed out if I didn't pick one of them.
Really surprising that, because a lot of people say like his big matches at WrestleMania, like his triple threat match, stuff like that. So the fact you said something a little bit obscure is, really, really great.
I always just like, because it's the matches I go back and watch. So I'm like, I could take that. I'm going to learn how to do that.
We Allow Wrestling fans sent another question in. It says, a personal question, if Martin doesn't mind. What gave you the energy to lose weight? I'd love to, but I have ADHD and I struggle to get energy.
I was quite lucky in that I became so obsessed with the wrestling training side when I signed up to do the wrestling. I think that was always the thing that I struggled with losing weight in the past, was I didn't have a focus. So I was just kind of doing it for the sake of doing it. And I think that's always where I would lose that momentum. If something went wrong, I would struggle. And I think having that singular mindset of something like, I need to lose weight because of this. So it wasn't always about losing weight at first. It was just about trying to get into wrestling shape. And I think that helped a lot, having something to focus on, whether that's a sport, whether that's a goal. I think especially something like losing weight, it's so hard to like, you pick a number out there and then you pick a date and you just kind of have to try, and it's difficult. It's really difficult. So yeah, I just kind of kept rolling with it. I didn't ever try to put any dates on things or any numbers on things. It was just, I became so obsessed with wrestling that I was like, I need to do it for wrestling. So that's what gave me the energy, was just that obsessiveness basically on that one thing. I avoided a lot of the, traditional weight loss methods. I guess I didn't sign up to some or whatever. It was just focus on what I knew, which wasn't a lot, but it was good enough to do the job.
There you go. So hopefully that answers your question. So being obviously a wrestler, do you get time to watch it from like a fan's point of view?
I try to. I really, really try to, and I think it's a difficult thing when you're a wrestler to try not get into like work mode. Like you'll be watching something. I really wanted to watch Backlash with my brain turned off, but then I was finding myself like, oh, why, that was so cool, and can I do that, and why did AJ Styles do that, and that's really interesting. But there's a video of me that went I don't want to say viral because it didn't go like viral, but it went somewhat viral, which was at Money in the Bank in London, where John Cena made the surprise appearance.
I saw that.
I was so overwhelmed that I burst into tears. I was just so surprised, and it was my brother was quick on the mark with the camera. But yeah, so I struggle when I'm just sat down and I'm watching. Even a lot of that, the rest of that show, I was trying not to get like watch it. But then as soon as he came out, that moment just clicked in, and it was like, wow. It takes you back into just being a fan again. It's moments like that. So yeah, I do get the chance to. You just have to lose yourself in it.
If it makes you feel any better, one of my wrestling fans actually did the same thing, cried.
Oh, nice.
Dear. We love wrestling fans. Thank you, Martin. Everything you said, I get 100%. So there you go.
That helped.
So for people who obviously is fans of obviously yourself, what do fans not know about Martin MacAlistair?
Ooh. That's a good question. I try to be quite open about my life. You know, I share a lot on Instagram and I share a lot on social media. What do people not know? I'm an absolute fiend for Diet Coke. I think might be my it's my one weakness. Like, see, I can resist anything, and I have done for many years to be on various calorie plans, whatever. But put a Diet Coke in front of me, there is no chance. Like, I can't not drink Diet Coke. It is by far my biggest weakness, and if it doesn't matter how much you put in front of me, I will continue to drink it. I don't think I've ever reached a limit where I'm like, no, this is too much. I think that might be the thing that people don't know about me. I just love it.
Dear. Catch up on us in the comments. Do you watch boxing? If yeah, who's your money on, Jake Paul or Mike Tyson?
Not a massive boxing fan. I watched the Tyson Fury music match from the other night. I thought it was really good. But I would like to say, I do want to say Mike Tyson. You kind of like, yeah, I know it's an age thing now, isn't it? It's one of these games, but you kind of can't see past Mike Tyson for these. I know the celebrity fights are kind of a funny one, but I want to say Mike Tyson. I can't bring myself to say Jake Paul.
The problem is he wants to be taken seriously, but when he's facing somebody like who's in his 50s, it's like, come on now.
Yeah, that's the thing. It depends how much the hands of time has caught up to Mike Tyson. I would never say this to his face, by the way, because he would knock me out. So
there you go. Louise Westy, sorry, says that's an idea for a show. Iron Girders, Money in the Clyde Built Bank. Winner gets a title shot.
I'd love to do a ladder match for that as well. Why not?
Dear. So, any injuries so far in your career?
No, I've been very lucky. Scrapes and bruises and little pains, but I've been fairly lucky so far. Which does feel a little cursed saying that. So I'll touch wood real quick on the table next to me, but it does feel a little cursed saying that. But no, I've been very lucky to avoid a lot of injuries. There's a lot of little pains. There's a couple of bones in my that didn't click before that they click now and things like that. But no, I've managed to stay fit and healthy this whole time, which has been great.
Awesome. So for people who have obviously not seen Martin MacAlistair, this is kind of like a way to kind of like promote yourself a little bit. Why should fans go and check out Martin MacAlistair?
I am very cheery, very happy, and I love wrestling. I think that's something that a lot of wrestlers aren't. I like to talk about bringing the positive charge. I bring a lot of positivity with me. And that's what makes me, and it's great fun, and I just hope I can win people over because, yeah, it's I just love wrestling, and I want you guys to come see me wrestle. I want to wrestle everywhere, and yeah, I think there's a lot of people are super cool nowadays, and I'm not cool. I know that. I just like it's positivity everywhere.
Absolutely. So the one name we've not obviously touched on, and I was looking through the thing, is BT Gunn. Now, somebody did this seminar in Newcastle, and they spoke very, very, very highly of him. What's he like as a person?
He's fantastic. I'm going to do a real quick segue here before I answer this question. In that seminar for the Wrestling Newcastle, if you see any photos for it, he was actually wearing my T-shirt. So, no, BT Gun's incredible. He's one of the nicest people when he wants to be. And obviously, you've seen him in the ring. Well, if you've seen him in the ring, he can be quite a nasty person when he wants to be, but he's incredible. I couldn't be where I was without BT Gun, and I've been very fortunate in my life that I was quite a big fan of his before I started wrestling, and I've had a chance to wrestle some of his matches, be ringside for several of his biggest matches, and I've also got to wrestle him, which was like a dream come true. I got to wrestle in front of my family and stuff, so he's incredible. No matter what he does, he's always incredible, which is what's so amazing about him. Like, you'll turn up to a show in shorts and flip flops, and you're like, "Who's this guy?" Then all of a sudden he switches on, and he's BT Gun again. He's phenomenal.
Louis Westy said BT got hardest hitting chops in the UK. I have obviously seen him in Newcastle, and they did actually sound like they hurt.
I've been very lucky in my match with him. He didn't chop me. I don't know if that's like a sign of respect or just he didn't get round to it fast enough.
Oh dear, this is brilliant. This is absolutely fun. So a few little more questions to begin to wind down. Do you have any like pre-match like any? How did you get ready for a match? Do you have like in a zone? Do you put any music on or?
So I used to get anxious, really nervous about matches. But I started to relax a bit more, and I've tried to like get into the zone by just like doing a bit of stretching and a bit of pacing about, but like a positive pacing about, as opposed to like just fresh and like I'm being mindful. I'm actively looking to do something. I found that's helped a lot. And then just before my music hits, I'll try stretch a wee bit and just get a chance to zone into myself and relax. I think that's a really hard thing to do, especially when you're anxious. I read a thing, or I watched a YouTube video or something, I can't remember. But basically, it's to do with the difference between excitement and being anxious is actually very little physical difference. It's how your body reacts to it. And I really took that on the chin when I kind of read that. And I was like, I'm kind of in control if I can ground myself and relax a lot more. I'm quite really into yoga. I think I've mentioned that a few times before. But with that, not that I'm doing crazy yoga poses and stretches before I start, but it gives me a chance to relax, get my breathing back to normal, and just be like, yeah, this is a great moment. I'm really excited to be here, and if I'm anxious, I'll try calm those nerves.
There you go. So, it's any people obviously in the UK scene, obviously in the Scottish scene, who you'd like to obviously face?
Oh, so many people. Off the top of my head, there's a lot of people that I got to wrestle. So I had this giant losing streak, which was kind of what took the big first 2 years of my life. And there's tons of people from that losing streak I'd love to wrestle again. The Sheik, off the top of my head, he's fantastic. And I'd love to wrestle Andy Wilde. I've not wrestled him before, but he's one of the guys. He's on the sort of East Coast, and I've always sort of passed him in the night, but I've never got a chance to go near him. And Martin Kirby is another one. Battle the people called Martin. So that would be I'm just saying that, so it writes itself. I'd love to wrestle him. He's at the top of my list, I think, at the moment. Yeah, so many people, but that's the people that are quite local to me. So it'll be, as I start branching out as well, there's talent up and down the country that I'd love to get a chance to wrestle.
What about promotion wise?
Yeah, I've been trying to really reach out recently and just try to get into more places. So I'm hoping just all over the country. I want to start wrestling. Newcastle is one. As you can see, there's a lot of people from Scotland now get starting there, and that's one that's definitely caught my eye. They look fantastic, and a lot of cool people there. But further down, you've got so many amazing promotions. So just anyone that would take me, I'll be there. I'll wrestle in your company because I just want to wrestle for them all.
There you go. So for that, somebody might be listening. You never know.
Hopefully.
Wheelow Wrestling fan comes back saying, "What eggs you on more? Cheers as a face or booze as a heel?"
Cheers. I love the excitement. I love the moments of like when the crowd loses their mind and just starts cheering. I was mentioning that thing with me crying about John Cena, but when you catch a crowd like that, that's when you know something's gone good, that you've done the right thing, or the match is going in your favor. When that crowd can't help but go, oh, that's when you're like, yes, wrestling's great.
Louis Westy says, I can see it now. You're both in the ring. We all chant Martin, and somebody goes, which one?
See? Battle of the Martins writes itself.
I hope somebody books that, please. Oh, dear. What about Valor Martin?
I'd love to wrestle for Valor as well. They're another Glasgow-ish based company, and yeah, I'd love to wrestle for them as well. They're fantastic. They wrestle in some really great venues. Which is kind of, they've managed to get some quite unique venues. So yeah, definitely Valor as well.
There you go. So for people who obviously is thinking about getting into wrestling, but they don't know what the step is, what would you say to those?
I think just try look what's close and start. I think there's no better advice than just get started. I think a lot of people put themselves off because they're like, it's not the right time, and I'd like to do this, and I want to wait for this, and I get that, it's difficult, but I was very lucky in that I didn't think about starting. I don't know why, but that was, I think, that helped me, is I didn't make a decision about it. And I think that's the thing. A lot of people say to me, I want to start wrestling, but I want to do this first, and I want to do that first. And you can do lots of things and wrestle at the same time, especially when you're starting out. It's not like it's all encompassing right from the start. You'll probably only be training 1 day a week when you first start, and that can be enough. That can be a lot when you first start. So that'd be my biggest piece, is just get started and try it, because if you don't, you never will. I feel like there's a lot of it can be difficult to get started in something. I know it myself from every other hobby that I do, and I'm like, I'll start that next week, and I'll wait for this to happen. It's difficult. It's difficult, but the quicker you can get started, the quicker you'll learn.
Awesome. So one final question before we wind down. You've obviously mentioned promotion you'd like to work for. You've obviously mentioned people you'd like to face. Do you have any other goals for the rest of the year you'd like to do?
Yeah. I think I'd love to wrestle in England again. So I've not wrestled there for a while. I'd love to get like a holiday camp show. Or a gala show. We were quite lucky for Girders last year. We got to wrestle outside, which is a rarity in Scotland to get good weather. So I'd love to do that again. A lot of revisits, a lot of try things, but ultimately the biggest goal for me is I'd love to defend my belt in another company. I don't think anyone's managed to do that with the Iron Girders Championship yet. So that would be my big dream, is to get that belt defended across different companies, and maybe across a different country. Who knows? I'd love to do it though. That's like the big one for me.
Awesome. This has been an absolutely fun chat. So if you guys want to check Martin MacAlistair out, you can check him out obviously on YouTube. Check him out. MacAlistair. He's done work for ICW, Iron Girders, CPW. And is there anything else you'd like to plug?
No, I just thanks very much for having me on the show. It's been an absolute blast. Thank you so much. I've had a good time.
Oh, it's absolutely been terrific. And the one thing I like is you've been smiling throughout, which is absolutely great.
I can't help it.
Hey, nothing wrong with that. So we've obviously got some more interviews lined up on the show. So we've got Arthur Scurro on the 29th of May. We've got Vusic comes back to the show on the 3rd of June. Somebody who's actually done work in Newcastle Wheelie, Mark Mathers, on the 13th of June. And this weekend, the Magic of Wrestling is going to be covering the Monday Night Wars. I don't know how much you know about this.
About the Monday Night Wars, or about your coverage of it, particularly?
Basically, Monday Night Wars as a whole.
Oh, I love the Monday Night Wars. That should have been my thing that I talk about. Actually, I started listening to audiobooks recently. So I got the Death of WCW, the other Death of WCW one, which I can't remember what that's called, and the Titanic sinking ones to do with WF. It's a really fascinating time in history. There's so much going on every single week. You could write books on each one, so it's really cool.
So to end the show, and what's your favorite moment from the Monday Night Wars?
That's so hard to pick one. It's not like so much as being like an amazing moment as much as it is just bonkers, but the whole Lex Luger turning up at WCW, the Mall of America, like I just love, like, you don't get enough wrestling shows in weird venues like or on TV anymore. So that's like inside a shopping center. So sometimes worse when you call it a shopping center, not a shopping mall. And then Lex Luger's there. It's just like this weird moment in time. It's like this is a catalyst of everything that comes next. It's such a cool moment. I think that might be my favorite.
Awesome. So we're going to be talking loads about the Monday Night Wars. That may be included. We haven't decided yet. So, any final words, obviously, Martin, before we head off?
No, thank you very much for having me on, and for people listening, stay positive.
There you go.